Greetings everyone, my name is Ethervil, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Make a Good 48-Hour Mega Man level. In this episode, I'll be covering the stage which ranked in 94th place, mine, Perilous Mountain, with a score of 33.75. It's time to do some live dev commentary. My box contents were the following: crash lifts plus rails, Tomahawk platforms, ladder presses, birdies, and Metall run and guns. This stage has a skip teleporter for a very good reason. You'll find out why near the end. Anyways, this first section introduces the players, both the Metalls and the ladder presses. First in isolation, then together. In fact, for most of the stage, I treated the ladder presses not as an enemy type, but as a third gimmick. Down here, I introduced the birdies. There was actually a change in MaGMML's behavior. In the version of the engine I used, only one birdie on screen could summon in the little birdies. Here, every birdie on screen can do so. On this screen, I combined both the Metalls and the birdies. I mainly use the Metalls as a distraction. Up here, I introduced the crash lifts, but to up the ante, I placed the second usage over spikes. This grass was added to obscure the enemies, although this mechanic was underutilized. And finally, on uneven terrain. Don't worry, they're only quarter spikes. I never think of using instant death for this, or bottomless pits. And then after that, I go a bit astray. Fun fact, even if you jump at max height, that cannot hurt you. The ceiling is simply there to spook you. Now this is to showcase how the ladder presses can block shots. Unfortunately, it mostly just wastes your time. The first few sections were fine, then we have sections like this which just kill the pacing, or rather slow it down too much. And frankly, this screen should have not been in the final product. We already had a ladder gauntlet earlier. Now this section introduces the players the Tomahawk platforms. First over safe grassy ground, then right above these Metalls. However, I made a big mistake here. I should have used regular Metalls, not the run and gun variants, as they can potentially snipe you off the platform. Now placing these platforms right over spikes, and placing enemies on or nearby them. This birdie placement. It only has 9 HP, sure, but the problem is, it's annoying to hit Buster only, especially due to this setup. I should have not placed it up there. I mean, there's a birdie right after this one, so why have this one? I like this section. This forces you to jump at regular intervals, and also teaches you that if you bonk your head against the ceiling and the Tomahawk platform is right below you, it'll drop you. Here, I'm a lot more okay with keeping the birdie. This is another section which should have been called out. To the right is an optional challenge for an E-Tank. Getting on is actually pretty difficult. And in the original version, you could jump over the ceiling. It's supposed to combine usage of the Tomahawk and ladder presses, but it has way too many spikes. Way too many spikes is one of the biggest criticisms of this stage, and I totally agree. We could just remove that entire section, and nothing much would be lost. Up ahead is a mini-boss battle. This orange birdie has more HP, and the pipes above drop metars at regular intervals. Time for what should have been the final section of the stage. We started the stage during the daytime, now we're in the sunset. This combines the usage of all the mechanics we've seen up to this point, both gimmicks and enemy-wise. My two biggest problems with this stage were overestimating the skill level of an average MaGMML player and not knowing when to stop. At least a third of the sections in the stage are extraneous. I should have made this less cramped. For a final section, there should have been fewer ladder presses and metalls. Keep the birdie and space out things more. And this green as well. Make sure to slide to the right here for a secret. Critical boot error. Please contact your nearest widely authorized serving station for repairs. Press any key to continue. 120 bowls, full life refill. And hidden in the quicksand is an E and W tank. But the worst is yet to come. Is this final midnight section. This is why the stage got a skip teleporter, mainly due to the second half. Oh sure, the stage starts out fine I guess. Up to this point, it had a gradual difficulty curve, albeit it rose up too quickly, but then this section shows up and transforms it into a died Kazo one. The issue with the second half is that it's way too punishing. The main problem is down here. You are either going to have to face tank the damage or dodge everything. The only reason why this midnight section exists is because I was worried that the sunset section did not act as a good enough climax. This whole section should have been axed or made into an optional one. As it stands right now, it's a significantly punishing difficulty spike, and using special weapons may not actually help you. I kept adding more and more stuff and never stopped to ask whether I should actually include them. I really wish I had playtesters, then we could have more easily caught these mistakes. Finally, here's a battle involving Plant Man on top of the Tomahawk platforms. And compared with the last section, this is far easier. It's mostly a battle positioning. And I agree, Jaden, this does feel like a bad smelter stage. That's it. A rather brutal stage, and currently the hardest stage in this LP up to this point. I highly advise you simply skip it. The main issues with this stage can be narrowed down to 3 points. It goes on for too long and becomes Died Kazo at the end, there are way too many spikes, and it didn't have any outside playtesting. One of the main reasons this happened was I was really worried of not having a proper climax and not having enough time to get acclimated to the mechanics, so what ended up happening was that I included too much extraneous stuff and effectively had 2 climaxes, the sunset section and the nighttime section. It reuses all the gimmicks, sure, but the punishment for making mistakes is very high, especially during the second part. Most players have not trained for this sort of thing. You didn't even see the worst part. Sometimes the Tomahawk platforms could desync so badly that they would fly into space. I think it was fixed here, but I'm not sure. See, I like the crash lifts and Tomahawk platforms. The problem is, I escalated them too much. It's like it started as one stage, but then became very different at the end. This is why I really wish I had access to playtesters, but due to time constraints I didn't. Not to mention it took several hours to actually tile set this stage. Ugh, I always hate tile setting these stages. I accept any and all criticism on this stage. It's bad, just skip it. Or play up to and including the sunset section, then exit it. Let's read the judge comments to see what they say, then I'll give my final thoughts. I would say it does come together somewhat during the sunset section and maybe the midnight section. The issue is that it's too difficult, because it does utilize all three main mechanics. Oh yeah, sometimes they didn't even spawn at all. Oops. That must have been fixed in this version. Thank you for the high score, PK. In contrast, I disagree with that. The orange birdie would be a terrible place to put the energy element. The sunset section would be a better part. I tend to prefer harder Mega Man stages. Less of it would be better, but again, my thoughts on precision, I'm more lax with that. And that's that. I agree with most of the criticisms. Here's a fun fact. If I had more time, most of them would not be spikes. They would actually be resprited as something else, like electrified floors. Here's how I'd rephrase the stage. 33% of the stage is quote-unquote fine, 33% needs to be reworked, and 33% needs to be excised. The beginning is fine, but everything else needs some repolishing, and most important of all, playtesting. Score-wise, I'd also give this stage a 35 out of 10. In fact, I would say that the other judges were a bit kinder than I expected, especially PK giving me a 50 out of 100. I think this level can be salvaged, but it needs a team.